Hello friends, welcome to another video. In this video, we will talk about test-driven development in Java. We will implement a Roman number converter using TDD, which means we will not write a single line of code without writing a test case for it. There are a lot of benefits of doing TDD, like better code architecture, almost 100% code coverage, and it saves time during refactoring, where we don't have to do any manual testing after changing the code. In this example, we will touch upon all of it. So let's jump right in. I have created a skeleton project for our Roman number converter. It has a test file, Roman number converter test, and a main class file, which is Roman number converter, which is empty right now. I have just added one single test case, which just tests that true is equal to true. And if I run this test case, it should pass. So this ensures that we have everything set up correctly. Our JUnit is working fine. So now let's jump into the problem and try implementing this Roman number converter. So the first test that we can write is for number 1. So what I will name is should return Roman number for 1. Okay. For this, let's create Roman number converter. It will be empty constructor. So we have the converter now. Now let's use this converter to convert our number. So this method is not present right now, but we will implement it. So I say convert for number 1, then I should get an I. Okay. Now let us implement this method. We will say create method, and we don't want object, we want a string, and rename it to number, and currently we will return null and not do anything else. So okay, our test case is ready now. Let's run it. Running the test case. All right, so our expectation is that it should return an I, but currently it's returning null. And let's remove this whole test case. All right, and our test case should still fail. Perfect. Now let's implement it. We need to make this test case pass, and remember, you just need to write enough code to make your test pass, nothing more. Okay, so let's go to convert, and the easiest way to fix this test is return an I. Now let's run the test again. Okay, so now our test case is passing because we are expecting an I and we are getting an I. All right, now let's implement another test case. Let's say for 3, because 3 comes just before 4 and it includes multiple I. So we'll test for multiple I scenario. So we'll say 3 and we should get 3I. Okay, now let's run the test case. And as expected, we got an I, but we were expecting 3 I's. Now let's jump onto the code and implement this. Now let's make use of this number, because anyway we'll have to rely on this. So what we can do is we can have a while loop where we'll say while number is greater than 0, we will store it in a string builder. Say name it builder, string builder. Okay, now let's use this builder and append I, and we will reduce this number as well. Okay, and once it's done, we will return builder.toString. So now this should cover our both scenarios for 1 and 3 as well. Now let's run the test case again, and the test passes. Now we'll run all the test cases so that we know that everything is passing and we haven't broken anything. So both the test cases are passing, test to passed. Okay, now let's write another test case. We will skip 4 for now because it's a special case where I comes before the V. So we'll go for 5 first. So I'll just write a test case for 5. So for number 5, we should get a V. Let's run this. And as per our implementation, instead of getting a V, we are getting 5 I's. Now let us go to the converter and implement this particular scenario. So we'll come here. Before adding I's, let's handle the scenario 5. So we can say if number is greater than or equal to 5, then in the builder we will append a V and also remove 5 from the number. This should make our test case pass. Let's run it and check. Okay, now this test case is passing. Let's also run all the test cases to make sure we haven't broken anything. Alright, so now we have covered the scenario of 1, 3 and 5. Let's write another scenario where we get I after V, which means we can go for 8. While testing for 8, we should get V and 3 I's. Let's run this test case and see if it works. Alright, our test case is passing because we are handling both the cases where we have a V and I. This works. Now let's come to 10. So we'll write a test case for 10, and 10 should return us X. Okay, so if I run this, currently it's failing because we have handled the scenario for 5 and then we are appending all the I's. So now let's handle this scenario as well, and this will be very similar to 5. We just need to handle it for 10 as well. So for 10 we'll have X and we'll reduce anything after. Now let's run the test case. It passes. So all our test cases are passing, be it 1, 3, 5, 8 or 10. Now another rule of doing TDD is that after making the test case pass, we should check if we can refactor anything in the code. So now what we can see is we have some duplication. So we have one if statement, then another if statement, and then a while loop. This is definitely a duplicacy. And what we can do is, first let's try to duplicate all of it, because once we have the code duplicated, it will be very easy to refactor. So basically, if I convert if statement into while, then that should also work, right? Because if is nothing but executing the while loop once. So if I convert it into while, then my test cases should still pass. So let's run the test case to make sure it's passing. Alright, so all the test cases are passing. Similarly, we can do for this if statement as well, convert into a while, and this should also work. Okay, so now we have the code duplicated perfectly, and we have just two variables, the number and the number Roman number. So now let's try to remove this duplication. Maybe what we can do is we just need to have this mapping somewhere, and once we have this, we can loop over that mapping and have a while loop inside that. So let's create a map. So what we can do is we can have a private static map which has an integer number and then the string for the Roman number map. Okay, and let's create it with a hash map. We'll use linked hash map because we need to make sure the order as well. So in linked hash map, let's import the map. Okay, I'll just minimize this so that we have the full view. Now let's add the mappings. Roman number map dot put, and we'll put the numbers in the same order. So basically 10 will come first, then we will have 5, and finally we'll have 1 for I. Okay, so we have 3 loops and 3 mappings. Now let's iterate over these mappings and create our Roman number. So I'll run iteration on the entry set. We'll just call it entry, and then we can put this particular while loop inside it. First we need a number, so entry dot get key is the number over here. Okay, it should be reverse, sorry about that. Number greater than equal to entry dot get key. Then we need the value, and for that we will use entry dot value, and this is again entry dot get key. All right, now we should be able to remove these while loops. Okay, now let us go to the test cases and run all of them because it's a bigger refactoring. Let's make sure everything is working as expected, and yes, all our test cases are passing now. That's great. Now let's write another test case, and remember we missed 4 earlier because it was a special case. So now we will cover 4 as well, and for that we need I and V. So if I run it, it should fail. So instead of giving me I and V, it's giving 4 I's. So now let's fix it. And the good thing is now that we have this table, we can easily fix this test case, and our test case is passing. And it should be, of course, below V, and it should still pass. Right, now let's jump on to 9 because that's also we missed. So I'll write it for 9, and if I give it 9, it should give me I and X. So again the test case should fail. It's giving me a 5 and a 4. Instead it should give me I and X, and that's also again simple to fix because we have this table ready. We will just say I and X, and our test case will pass. Now all we have to do is to fill in this table, and all our numbers will start working. This is the power of following TTT approach. First we duplicated the code, we made sure we write only enough code to make the test case pass, and then we looked into refactoring after making the test cases pass. And for refactoring, we followed the approach of making duplicates and then removing all the duplicates from the code base by following another approach where we created a Roman number map, put everything in a table, and we started iterating over that table, and everything just started working for us. Now if you write it further, let's say for 20, then 50, 100, everything will work seamlessly because you just need to fill this table now and everything will be under control. So this is about this video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you want to see more videos on the test driven development topic, and if you want it to be more descriptive, and we can also do a video using a Mockito if you guys like. So let me know in the comments below and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. Till then, thank you and happy coding.